Alright. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency. Today, going to be taking a look at Cardano, ADA. Going to be looking at some of these key technical aspects of price action moving forward. Going to be assessing some of these key pivotal areas of support and resistance I believe we're going to be interacting with in the very near future here. Let me know in the comments down below. Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Do you trade? Do you hold? Or do you let the price action unfold? What are you doing with your bag? If you have one, are you bullish on price action? Do you believe we finally found support? Are you accumulating at these levels as, the multi-dollar range ahead of us that we just came from in the not so distant past here? Or are you bearish on price action? Are you selling at these levels? Do you think there's more downside ahead of us? Are we going to plummet through $1.50, 25 cents, straight to zero? Where do you think Cardano is heading in the near future here? Let me know in the comments down below. Now, to kind of recap, price action that is interacted with this very pivotal, critical range of what appears to be sideways, a very high conflict of what appears to be very strong fundamental demand for Cardano at these levels, interacting with appears to be very high technical sell pressure from what was a kind of very bullish run up here into these levels. And so definitely lots of strong, buyers and sellers at conflict here, causing these very volatile moves upward and downward. I do believe Cardano has stayed very bullish over the very volatile fluctuations that Bitcoin has been having kind of lately, and the kind of short-term downside it's been experiencing. Cardano has been kind of maintaining value or gaining against Bitcoin, interacting with very strong support kind of yet again here. I do believe significant resistance will be found around $1.47, perhaps $1.50 as a psychological kind of round level, and a significant support could be found at 94 cents here, just below a dollar, but $1 seems to be the kind of round level we could be kind of bouncing between. That price action could be trapped in before we find our way interacting with the multi-dollar levels again. But a new perspective comes into play here when we consider now the Fibba, Lamborghini, Zucchini lines of bikinis. We can see this new perspective come into play. We have price action interacting with the 200 daily moving average, getting slapped between that 0.5 fettuccine line. We have, in addition to the EngineeringRobo's buy and sell 4. We have sell 4 present since the 19th of May here. That abrupt change of momentum, that is, we've still been interacting with that very aggressive sell-off from the euphoric, multi-dollar, $2.50 kind of range there, almost that we came from. So EngineeringRobo still technically bearish, suggesting some current sell pressure present. Fundamental buy pressures as we've been above this 200 daily moving average for kind of the past kind of few kind of months here, leading up to the last few days. We had a daily candle technically open and close below the 200 daily, but we were very much bought up, and we were very bullish here, showing the kind of still bullish presence and fundamental demand for Cardano at these levels against all this very high sell pressure, and we have found our way back above this 200 daily. So with the significant resistance at the 0.5 fettuccine line at $1.24, that could slap us through the 200 daily moving average and send us interacting with the 0.382 Fibonacci level at 95 cents, just above my 94-cent line, suggesting that there is significant support just under a dollar. So we're in a pretty critical pivotal state at the moment. We're in a tight range we're trapped in. So we find our way above the 0.5 line, above $1.24, perhaps $1.25 is the psychological level we're getting rejected from there. But once that is confirmed as support, I do believe that might give us the momentum to plow through potential resistance between kind of $1.47, I do believe, up to $1.53 is that 0.618 Fibonacci level. So we do have significant resistance ahead of us once we do find support, but Cardano has been very bullish for the past kind of few months here, and so the buy pressure has been ever so abundant enough to hold us sideways finally to interact with this 200 daily. So we will have to see, I do believe, how that is confirmed as support or resistance to determine the perhaps midterm of the trend here. Now, I do believe a new perspective from EngineeringRobo comes into play when we were to consider the fear and greed index here. That is a indicator used for more perhaps mid to longer term investors rather than sort of the traders. That would be perhaps a more short term trading off the volatility. The fear and greed index is typically used for, like I said, mid to long term investors that would like to hold through all the volatility, buy in the lows and that kind of thing. We have the fear zone down here. price action interacting with that kind of 3 cents to 5 cents, great levels to be accumulating through all that very critical, sideways volatility, all those dips that were occurring. If you're accumulating under 5 cents, those are great times to be buying. You held through all the sideways between 7 cents up to 14 cents and then back to 7 cents. You held through all that, and then now you're taking profit here, perhaps above 50 cents, that psychological level there. Perhaps you're taking profit at $1, $2, or up anywhere in this FOMO zone. That is suggesting that this is where mid to long-term traders, or investors rather, are taking profit, and they are cashing in on their trades that they've been holding on to for however many months leading up to. So this does suggest some very high technical sell pressure, and we've been seeing that in the kind of candles movements, but Cardano has been overall very bullish lately, and so the fundamental demand has been holding us against this sell pressure, and so I do believe now finally that we've exited the FOMO zone. That does give us some breathing room for some potential upside in the short term here, and so we could very well see Cardano above, well above $1 into the multi-dollar range very soon if this fundamental buy pressure continues. So lots going on for Cardano against USDT. We have multiple perspectives coming into play. Perhaps some short-term downside, or perhaps more sideways is necessary to kind of make up for the kind of very bullish run we've had leading up to these levels. Although this is a very strong bounce off of a very nice psychological level there, and a higher low relative to some kind of wicks kind of prior there. We could see some short-term upside kind of very soon. But a new perspective comes into play now when we consider Cardano against the price of Bitcoin. We can see price action still looking kind of bullish in my opinion. There's still suggestions of buy pressure present and buyers present of Cardano. We have EngineeringRobo bearish since the 19th of May still. We have the dreaded change in momentum. Although, like I said, price action still looking quite bullish, technically suggested by this price action well above the 200 daily moving average, but being so far above the 200 daily does suggest that we might make our way perhaps to it as to interact with it as support or resistance kind of thing, as we've been interacting with it on the USDT chart. Perhaps we stay sideways enough to bring the 200 daily moving average up to price action on the Bitcoin chart, and kind of determine what that will do for price action moving forward, as we do have a very high conflict of buy and sell pressure causing very volatile range of sideways. Against Bitcoin, we have 4056 Satoshi as resistance, suggested by the 0.786 Fibba Zucchini level of bikinis, and also perhaps support around 3277 Satoshi, suggested by the 0.618 Fibba Lamborghini line. I also have a support line drawn at 3093 Satoshi if we're bearish enough to fall into that range. Say we kind of start plummeting in the short term and we come down to the 0.5 Fibba Zucchini line at 2729 Satoshi. That would be a nice target to bounce from, which is currently at the moment above this 200 daily moving average, but this will kind of rise with price action depending on its kind of direction. So there's definitely lots of room for kind of up and down kind of movements here to still be considered quite sideways. So we will have to see kind of where Cardano's breakout will be, where support will be found. There's kind of very high conflict of interest here in terms of the buyers and sellers present in the market. But I do believe Cardano wants to be bullish and will find support kind of at any time. Now, a new perspective comes into play. What we consider now Bitcoin against USDT. We can see price action bouncing. We have very significant buy pressure. And kind of as soon as we got into under 30K there, into the high 20Ks, 29K, we were bought up. This is a very bullish higher low at the moment relative to this wick on the 22nd of June, in my opinion, which came down to like 28,900. The low of the 20th of July candle at kind of like 29,000, kind of 300 there, is technically a higher low, and it was more bullish in the short term. And we see price action above the ever so critical and pivotal 32K level, which was significant resistance for a brief moment, apparently. But now we have price action above this range, and if we confirm that as potential support, that might give us the strength to perhaps plow through the 0.5 line. And so, as I've been saying, I know Bitcoin wants to be bullish. There's definitely tons of demand, tons of buy pressure for Bitcoin at these levels, even though we're coming from these very euphoric kind of current all-time highs. EngineeringRobo has been bearish or below the 200 daily moving average. There's definitely some reasons to be kind of short-term bearish on Bitcoin at the moment, and we've had a very parabolic run up to these levels. Although the overall bullishness of Bitcoin kind of just is always there. It's never a bad time to buy Bitcoin, only better times. And so on the technical kind of aspect of things, if we were to confirm 32K as support, that definitely would suggest a potential bottom occurring. And this would be a very lovely, perhaps, say you were to draw a, perhaps, descending triangle-esque, formation. If you were to suggest price action consolidating downward towards support, found support along this level, very strong bounce. This could suggest a potential bottom in the market if support is found. So lots going on for price action. Don't let this be a fake out. You never know. Watch for confirmations. Let your strategy come to fruition. Be systematic. Go with the flow of the market. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for hearing my analysis. Try EngineeringRobo free with a link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Check out all the other social media down below. Let me know your thoughts on price action. Where do you think it's going to go? Are you accumulating at these levels? Have we finally bottomed? This is a very bullish bounce, against the ever so aggressive downside, but it was not bullish enough to trigger EngineeringRobo's buy for yet. So we do have, some technical sell pressure still present, and we could be way more bullish in the short term once EngineeringRobo becomes bullish again, in my opinion. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and tune in for the next one.